Welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment journalist. It is episode 122, and joining me today is an incredible singer-songwriter. She has as of this recording, has over 4.4 thousand Facebook followers and 50,000 Instagram followers, and also her videos have been viewed on YouTube over 406,000 times. So please help me welcome Kimberly Dawn.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I'm so well, and Kimberly, thank you so much for taking time on your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I feel so honored. Thank you.
Awesome. So let's get started. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
You know what? I grew up listening to music. I sang in church. I just always loved music. And from the time I was a little girl, I just kind of gravitated to music. It's kind of what has helped me, to be honest with you, in my life. Whether I was going through difficult times, I feel like music really helped me through those difficult times. And so that's kind of why I chose to go down the path of music, because I want to be able to do that for other people. What music's done for me, I want to be able to do that for other people.
Wonderful. So who are your music industry role models, and how do they influence your sound?
I have so many. I've listened to so many genres of music growing up, so I feel like I've been influenced by everything from not even just the country genre, from pop to rock to R&B. I would say, I love Dolly Parton. I think she's just, she's has influenced me in a lot of ways. My sound isn't necessarily the Dolly Parton sound, but just her as a songwriter and a singer and as a female, and how she influences so many people for the good. And she does so much good. I feel like she's been a huge role model for me. I grew up listening to the Supremes, Paul Anka, um, to finding sounds like Mariah Carey, to Wilson Phillips, like all these different genres of music. And I would say it was probably in the 90s is when I really discovered country music. So it's like you grow up listening to music because that's what your parents are putting on for you to listen to. And so you're kind of like listening, and then you kind of hear your own sounds that you start loving. And that's kind of when I discovered Garth Brooks, is in the 90s. And I was like, oh, what is this sound? What is this? And then Shania Twain and Faith Hill and all these amazing country artists. That's kind of where I feel like they really influenced me down the path of country music.
I'm glad that you mentioned that you listen to all different types of music, because the thing is, I really hope that all artists, no matter if you're a singer, songwriter, listen to a bulk of different stuff. It doesn't matter if it's hip hop or pop or even K-pop or even country, but like listen to some of the influences, because everything is influenced in one way or another.
For sure. And you know what? There's so much crossover right now these days with music, and I love it. I love that you could get pop, and they're doing something with someone in the country genre, or even, to be honest with you, R&B. I'm hearing rap songs and a country song, and I'm like, that's so cool. I love it that these different genres are just colliding.
Yeah, I gotta say, Lil Nas X and Billy Cyrus did a wonderful job with Old Town Road a couple of years.
They did.
It was 2019 when it was released, but 2020 is when it really hit that high.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great song, and they did a great job with that song.
Awesome. So, who are your music industry role models? So, like, and how did they we set? I just asked, I'm so sorry, guys. I just asked it. Like, sometimes I ask the right questions, but like, let's get back to it. So, when did you have base? What have been some of the challenges that you faced throughout breaking into the music industry, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
And I think there's ongoing obstacles in this business because it is a tough business to break into. Um, I think for me, having a strong foundation with my friends and my family, and having that, keeping me grounded, um, has helped me move forward, because you're getting a lot of doors closed on you. There's a lot of people who will say, oh, I want to help you. and you think that they want to help you, but they're really not helping you. They might offer it, but then they don't do it. And so I've also learned to just, if someone offers to help and they're able to help me, great, but I don't put those expectations on people, because a lot of times I would get super excited and it was kind of a letdown. So for me, I just, I hold those people that are close to me. I keep them close to me because I know that I can count on them no matter what. And I work hard. I mean, I'm continually, like right now I'm still taking guitar lessons because I play piano and I'm definitely better at the piano than I am with guitar, but I want to branch out, and I challenge myself constantly to be a better artist. And how do I become a better artist? I'm writing all the time. I'm learning other instruments because I think that's important, just to be able to really understand music, even from an instrument point of view. Um, Instrument's point of view. I guess an instrument doesn't really have a point of view, but you know what I'm saying. Just to be able to, understand the ins and outs of different instruments. And yes, our voice is an instrument too, but I think it's so important as an artist to be able to, play other instruments as well.
I totally agree, because the thing is, I like performers that do a lot of different stuff. And even I always try to go and venture on some place where it's not where I'm very familiar when it comes to, as a podcaster, I'm very familiar when it comes to music and reality TV. But when I get someone that has done that's fitness entrepreneur, that really challenges me, because I want to dig deeper and do lifestyle. Because the thing is, I do stuff that always challenged me, and we have to do stuff. Otherwise, why are we still in second gear?
No, it's true. And you have to do stuff that challenges you, and you actually have to step out of your comfort zone. So if you stay comfortable in your lane, you're not growing. And so for me, it would be very easy for me to have walked away from this business a long time ago. And believe me, there have been times where I'm like, I quit, I'm not doing this anymore. But it always pulls me back in. And I've just realized, you know what? This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And yes, there's going to be heartache along the road, and that's okay. I'm growing from those experiences, and I just have to keep challenging myself and keep pushing forward. And I'm a very spiritual person, in the sense that I know that God has a plan no matter what for me, and that I have to trust in that. So instead of me trying to control situations or feel like I need to try to control situations, it's out of my control, because somebody else has a plan for me. And at the end of the day, his plan is better than mine. And I do believe that.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you on that. We all are on our own different journeys, and sometimes we have to learn how to control ourselves, and learn that we have to take power away.
Yeah.
All righty. So I want to talk to you about your YouTube series called This Is Me. So can you please describe this series to my audience, and what have been some of your fans' feedback from it?
Oh, so that's been fun. I started that about 4 months ago, my YouTube series, This Is Me. And I wanted to kind of really interact with my fans, and I want them to feel like they really are getting to know me. And, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just like you. You know what? I go to the grocery store. Drive my car where I need to go. I'm just a regular person like everybody else. And I really want my fans to feel like they connect with me on that level. And so with that, I feel like people have really loved getting to know me and actually get a look inside my life a little bit, and my daily life. And I love to do giveaways. So I think that's been fun for my fans to actually get giveaways from me. And just so you know, when I do my giveaways, I send them out myself. I send them to my fans. I put a little note in there. I want them to feel like it's not just some, girl who's getting on there and she's saying, "Oh, yeah, this is my life, and I really appreciate my fans." I really want my fans to know that I appreciate them. So I feel like they're really connecting with me on a different level, and they're really appreciating just, the weekly series that I'm doing, and, every Friday, and, you know,
It's amazing. I think it's amazing that you're doing all those different personal touches, especially like I've rarely seen. There's a lot of artists today that don't do a lot of those personal touches. But however, I think you make a lot of memories because of it. And like, I'd rather receive a hand delivered note or like something personal to someone than someone that's been like mechanical print, stamp it.
No, it's true. And I've also noticed too, you're going to have like your super fans. And those are the ones that they're following you on your journey and they're so supportive. They're the ones that are going to buy your music. They're the ones that are going to buy your merch. They're like super supportive. And, if I only had 10 of those, I'm grateful for those 10. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they're the ones that are loyal, that they're going to follow, they're going to stick by you through everything. And those are the kind of fans that I want. I want those loyal fans. And in return, I want them to know that I appreciate them and, it means a lot to me. So I try to, add those little special touches.
I totally agree. Those special touches are so worth it. And besides, I'd rather have 100 fans follow me that are honest and will stay loyal than 10,000 fans who are like, wait a sec, well, like the first wrong move I do, bam, they're out the door.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Absolutely.
Alrighty. Recently you dropped The Bottle, and I love that. It's a very powerful song. It's a song that you wrote with Jeff Cohn. And the singles what address mental health perfectly and brilliantly. So how long did it take you and Jeff to write this tune, and how has it resonated with the readers?
So Jeff and I wrote that song in probably less than an hour and a half. It was just one of those moments where the song just kind of came together. You have those magic moments sometimes where you're in a room and the song just kind of comes out. It just like very natural. And it was one of those moments. And people are really loving the song. And I think so. May right now is Mental Health Awareness Month, National Mental Health Awareness Month. And I think in the past year, mental health has really been brought to the forefront with everything that's gone on with this pandemic. And, it's been a lot. It's brought a lot of things to the forefront for people. And I think before, there's so many stigmas that come with mental health. And I think now people are understanding. I mean, you could totally be fine one day and something happens and you literally could have a breakdown. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. First of all, we're humans. We all, we have emotions. There's only so much we can handle at one time. And so I feel like the bottle coming out this month and really my purpose in releasing that and really wanting to share with the world is that we all go through struggles. I've gone through struggles. That the song The Bottle is really about my personal experience with struggling with alcohol. And through my teenage years into my very early 20s, and I don't drink at all now, and I haven't for like, many, 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 many years. But I wanted people to also see that side of me to realize, you know what? We all go through struggles no matter what you think. You can look at somebody, and I say, you can look at somebody and they can be all well put together, but you don't know what's going on inside. And so I want people to be not only kind to themselves, but be kind to others and know that everybody is going through something. And don't be ashamed of it either. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's okay to ask for help. And even, for me sharing my story, I've never talked about it. This is recent. I've started talking about it since I've released the song The Bottle. And I wanted people to also know that, even though that's part of my past, it shaped me to who I am today. And even the shame that maybe I have felt talking about it and wanting to forget that part of my past, it's part of my past. And I've moved forward and I'm a better person because of it. And I want people to also understand that too. Everybody has a past. We've all made mistakes. Nobody's perfect. No matter what, nobody's perfect. That you can grow from those mistakes and become a better person because of them. So.
And I truly admire your bravery for sharing this story. And I agree with you. We're all not perfect. We all have our flaws. I have my own flaws. And if not, we would all be sounding like robots and all robot stuff. We're all human. And yeah. I think this song should definitely help a lot of people out.
Thank you. That's my hope.
All right. So speaking of other songs, I got to talk to you about some of my favorite songs from you and the stories behind them. I was before we got on our call, I was listening to Nashville. It's a wonderful song.
Thank you.
So what is the story behind Nashville?
So with Nashville, so I went to Nashville for the first time like probably 6 years ago, and I fell in love with Nashville. I just fell in love with it. So I wrote that song about Nashville, but really about like falling in love in a place that, people fall in love in all different places in the world, right? Even though I didn't fall in love with my husband in Nashville, I fell in love with Nashville. So I took my love for Nashville and I put it in a song, and it's like a love song about two people falling in love in Nashville. And it's just, it's still one of my favorite songs that I've written. It's just a happy song, and every time I hear it or when I hear my fans singing it, it's the most amazing feeling. I can't even explain it when you're performing and people are singing your song in the audience when they're actually singing the words. And I know the song has resonated with everybody who has heard it. People love the song, so it makes me so happy.
And it's perfect, especially with. I love to hear that when artists hear their songs, hear the audience, no matter if its entire bar full or or entire arena sing that song. I bet that feeling is always perfect for that artist.
It is. It's a great feeling.
All righty, let's talk about Warrior.
So Warrior was written, so interesting enough. So as an artist, I also write my songs too. I love writing. And that song was written actually for one of my kids who was struggling in school. And I wrote this song for her because, so it's for one of my daughters. I wrote it for her because she was really struggling with friends in school. And one in particular who was just one of her best friends and just not being nice to her. And this was, by the way, in elementary school.
Wow.
And she would just, she was in tears all the time and she didn't understand like how to deal with it. And I just sat down at the piano one day and this song came to me. I sat there and I wrote the song for her and I wrote it. And after I wrote it, I said, "This is your song. I wrote this for you because you know what? No matter what you're going through in life, you can get through it. You're a warrior." And so that was, you know, the whole gist of this song is that I wrote this song for my daughter. Well, fast forward probably 4 years later, I went to her and I said, "Listen, I really feel like this song could help a lot of people who are struggling just with life, feeling like they're not good enough or feeling, having people tell them they're not good enough or just feeling down." And I said, "Would you be okay if I recorded it and I shared it?" And she said yes, but I wanted to get her permission first because I really did write it for her and it was like a special, very intimate song, but it resonates with everybody. I feel like it's like that empowerment song of like, you know what, you can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to, and nobody's going to tell you any different, and it's all going to be okay.
I'm glad she said yes, and because it's a really good uplifting song, and I think you did the right thing to talk to her first because it's a gift. And when someone asks some permission to share that gift and they say yes, then it's a wonderful door that opens for other unlimited, infinite possibilities.
Yes, thank you.
All righty, 93.
Oh, yes, 93. So that song, so I wrote that with two Nashville writers, Megan Barker and Greg Freya. And like I said earlier, I love 90s country music. That's really when I discovered country music was like in the 90s and that sound. And so the three of us were, sitting down and talking about what we wanted to write about. And I said, "You guys, I really want to write a song about the 90s. I love the 90s sound, but I just think the 90s is still nostalgic." And so we just kind of sat down and 93 was born. I mean, it just kind of, we started talking about just all the stuff in the 90s, what was going on in the 90s. And it was so fun to write, to kind of like go back in time and, where it was like telephones. I don't even know if there were cell phones in the 90s. I don't really think
I
there was.
remember like there
Maybe
were
in the
big
late
cell
90s.
phones.
Yeah, in the late 90s, I guess probably. But I'm just saying, just very different, and it's fun to kind of talk about that, when you were going to go to a party or something. How did everybody know there was going to be a party? Well, in my small little town, we'd meet at the local gas station. It was like, okay, there's a party over at so and so's house. I mean, that's how we did it. Nowadays it's a very different way that these kids communicate, but we didn't have social media back then.
I think I grew up in the 90s, I hate to date myself, went to elementary school through the 90s, and it saw a lot of a lot of shows and a lot of music. That era is an incredible era, and it's very much a very much simpler time.
Yes. Yes, and that's kind of what I wanted to write about, was like a simpler time, very carefree, and it's resonated with so many people, even to kids that are born in the 2000s. They're loving the song, and so I just think it's just resonating with a lot of people, because it's taking you back in time to a simpler time. And even if it's for those 3 minutes and whatever, 25 seconds, however long the song is, if it takes you back in time to that feel good moment of those carefree days, that's what makes me happy, because that's what a song should do, take you back and good memories, and bring that, those good feelings up. And I think if music can do that for somebody, I think I've done my job.
I totally agree. And like as we're getting closer to reopening them and like going back to stages, are you excited to see your fans again? Are you excited to take on that stage, to head back onto the
Oh
stage
my
and perform?
gosh, I am. And I've already been doing live shows. So I've done a couple live shows down in LA, at the Mint in Los Angeles. And I have a huge show at the very end of May on Memorial Weekend down in Long Beach. It's a Southern rock festival that I am going to be opening, for the band, Six Gun Cell.
Nice.
So it's, and it's a festival, it's an all-day festival, and I'm really excited about it. So I've been in rehearsals already, full band, and it's going to be a huge show. And so I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. So who are your dream collaborators, singers, songwriters, and producers, and how would they enhance your sound?
Oh, there's so many people that I would love to work with. Listen, I'd love to collab with like Garth Brooks, or, let's see, um, Dolly Parton. I would love to be in a room with her and write with her and just pick her brain. And I think she's amazing. Um, oh gosh, there's so many artists out
One
there,
of my
and even
favorite Dolly.
producers.
I know Dolly is one of my, before we get to the producers, Dolly, I just remember my first time interviewing Dolly. It was I was on a line, a phone line with 40 other reporters from different agencies. But when I got to me, I told her I was from Kansas City, and she sang the first bars of Kansas City. I just went to heaven. That was probably one of the most
Oh,
magical experiences.
I love that. Yeah. You know what? There was a Dolly Parton documentary that I watched a few months ago, and it just made me fall in love with her even more. So, I mean, I think she's so amazing. There are so many amazing writers in Nashville that, I mean, the list could go on and on of writers that I want to work with, or even producers that I want to work with. Um, because they're not just working with country artists either. They're writing with pop artists. They're producing pop artists. And so the list goes on and on. Ryan Tedder. Yes, I'm putting that out there, because Ryan, I would love to work with Ryan. He's an
He is
amazing
a
producer and
phenomenal
songwriter.
choice.
Yeah. So he's, definitely like at the top of, who I would love to work with.
He's done so many incredible works with not just One Republic, but he's written for Adele, for Beyonce, so many impeccable performers.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's super talented. So, but definitely.
All righty. Social media I think it's necessary for every artist to have in the industry. And if you don't have social, it's definitely going to be a very hindrance. So what are your favorite social media platforms to connect with your fans?
Well, obviously, Instagram, but Instagram keeps changing so much, and I'm on TikTok now. So TikTok is kind of like my new platform, and I'm really trying to build that up now. Um, because there's so much that you can do on TikTok. Before I didn't really understand it. I'm like, I'm not a dancer. I'm not going to go on there and do all the dancing, but it's so much more than that. And a lot of artists are on TikTok and they're sharing their music on TikTok. Um, the other thing that I've seen happening more often now is that artists are getting discovered on TikTok because, the A&R guys, the, producers, um, management, whatever, they're all looking on TikTok for the next artist. And so people are getting discovered on TikTok with that.
Like Olivia Rodrigo and Driver's License.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely think TikTok is, even though I've been so resistant to TikTok, I definitely need to check it out.
I was super resistant with it too. I really was because I'm like, oh, it's for like these young kids, but like everybody's on it, and it's like growing so much. I mean, it's really a great platform to be on, and even for you, like with what you're doing with your podcast and stuff. There's so many people that go on there that have podcasts and they talk about their shows and stuff. So there's so many different avenues and ways you can use TikTok, and that's what I'm learning. I'm still new on it, but I'm enjoying it and I'm doing it.
And that's incredible, Kimberly. So we got to start winding down this interview. So if you had the opportunity to meet with an artist who's getting ready to go back on the road for the first time since the whole pandemic, what advice would you share with them?
I would share with them to just live in the moment, be in the moment. Because I think if I learned anything this past year, how quickly things can be taken away. And, taking that pressure and that stress off, because as an artist, and I know it because I do the same thing, we put so much pressure on ourselves. It's like if I can remember anything, and it's a dear friend of mine that actually said this to me. She said, Kim, when you go out there and you perform, just have fun. Just have fun. And I remind myself that every time that I step out in front of an audience right now, I'm going to have fun, because if I'm having fun, they're going to have fun. Take the stress of everything else. Don't stress about, am I on key? Am I off? Am I my timing? When we're obviously those things are in our minds while we're singing. We want to be on key. We want to be, our timing. But if you're having fun, it's all going to come together. And that's my dear friend Simon, who actually she reminds me of that all the time. Every time I'm going to do a show, Kim, just have fun. Just have fun. So I tell myself that.
Awesome. Now, where can my audience connect with you on social and, more importantly, support your music?
Thank you. You guys can follow me on Instagram at official Kimberly Dawn. That's the same handle on TikTok. I'm on Facebook, Kimberly Dawn Music, and you can find me on Twitter. But you guys, my music, you can stream me on Spotify, Apple Music. You can iTunes. You can buy my stuff on iTunes. I'm also on Pandora. I have an album that's coming out, a full album, and there'll also be vinyl, and I'm super excited about it because it'll be my first vinyl album that is coming out in July. So I'm super excited about my album release, and if any of you guys are in Los Angeles or coming out to LA, my show's in Long Beach on May 29th, and you can get tickets right now. You could even go to my Instagram. There's a link on my Instagram that you can click on and buy tickets.
Awesome. And congratulations on your record coming up in July.
Thank you.
I will make sure to have it included on Jake's Takes New Music Reviews.
Thank you.
And then also congratulations on your first vinyl being released. That's going to be incredible.
So thank you. I'm super excited about that.
Alrighty, guys. For more information, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, you can catch us up on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, Jakes, Take with Jacob Elyachar, Jacobely. Elyachar. Now, are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Head to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All Jacob Elyachar, JacobElyachar. And also, guys, Jake's Take is celebrating its 10th anniversary. So go to the blog that has started all, jakes-shake.com. And finally, guys, please consider helping me and by going on PayPal to help me help my platform. It's just me. I schedule all the interviews. I edit all the interviews. I write all the stories. So I would love to have your help. So please, guys, please consider going to PayPal and helping me out. But otherwise, if you can't afford to do that, a like and a subscribe would be perfect on both my social media pages and my podcast pages. Kimberly, it is such a pleasure to talk with you. I had so much fun talking with you.
Thank you for having me on. This was so much fun. And congratulations. 10 years. That's amazing. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you so much, Kimberly. And until next time, everybody, thank you so much for listening and have a great one. Bye.